Welcome, everyone. It is time for another episode of Get to Know Them. Thank you so much for joining us here at 3 p.m. EST. It's so nice to see you. I have a very special guest today who is chiming in from British Columbia. That's why we're a little later today than usual. So I've got a real treat for you. But for those of you who may be tuning into the show for the first time, I am your host, Monica Graves. The show is called Get to Know Them, and this is a weekly podcast where I interview interesting people from all different walks of life in the hopes that their stories will inspire you. So thank you so much for being here. Before I introduce today's guest, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our show sponsors. So first of all, we have a sponsor who has been with us since the very beginning, the very talented Brenda Bedome, based out of Toronto, Ontario. She is a clothing designer, and I am always decked out in her lovely, comfy clothing. Check her out and use the coupon code Get to Know Them for 20% off your order. Our other show sponsor is Scooters, scooters.ca. Where you can join me on a Thursday night for roller skating. You can go on any of the other nights as well, but Thursdays are great. They have lessons at Scooters, so if it's been a while since you've skated, come on out to a lesson on a Thursday night at 7. And our latest show sponsor is flourishandbask.ca. They are located in downtown Oakville, and they have a lovely selection of alcohol-free beverages for you to enjoy. So if you're taking some time off of alcohol or you no longer drink alcohol and you want to try something new and different, be sure to check out flourishandbask.ca. And again, you can use the coupon code Get to Know Them for 10% off your order. Last but not least, I also sponsor the show with my jewelry business, and that's where we broadcast from, Glam Jewels, GLAMJULZ.com. My studio is located in Burlington, Ontario, and that's where we are coming at you live today from. So if you want to check out our website, please do that. We do a lot of fundraising projects with people to help them raise money for causes they believe in. So you can reach out to us about that. And you will see on our website today that we've just posted our next masterclass, which is on March the 23rd. So you're welcome to come out here for that Saturday, and I will teach you how to make some jewelry. Let's not wait another moment. My guest today, all the way from British Columbia, is Zachary Lowe. I'm going to read you his bio, and then he's going to come on screen with me. Zach was first intrigued by special effects after seeing Star Wars back in 1977. He was just 7 years old, but oh boy, it was the most amazing thing he had ever seen. Everything came to life before his eyes on the big screen. That memory stuck with Zack through his teens, and he knew he had to somehow make that his career. Zack was an average student with average grades, but he always had a very big imagination. All through high school, he chose subjects that were related to the film industry, like drama. He also joined the high school video club and volunteered at a local television station. After high school, Zack enrolled at Sheridan College for their media arts course. He figured learning about video and film would bring him closer to his dream of working in the special effects industry. After 3 years of college, he found himself working security at Humber College and going nowhere. He decided he would volunteer at special effects studios in order to gain work experience. He was on a mission to network and meet the right people to break into the industry. That ultimately led Zack to taking an introduction to animation course at the University of Toronto. He learned to work with the latest and greatest software at that time. Because he already established a network of people in the industry, he ended up landing his first job at the most popular VFX house in Toronto, Toy Box Inc. He worked on big blockbuster films like Panic Room, Undercover Brother, to name just a few. Zack's very first VFX film was the Jason X, also known as Friday the 13th Part 10. That was back in the year 2000. Fast forward to now, 2024, Zach's had an amazing 24-year career. Zach's portfolio now includes 23 blockbuster films. His name has appeared on several film credits. He's also worked on several TV series like Game of Thrones. Zach is now supervising and leading a team of artists, and he's a mentor at Think Tank. Zach loves what he does, and I've known him for almost 30 years. He was one of the bonuses of meeting my husband back in 1997. A very good friend to Wayne, and now I get to call him my friend too. Here is Zachary Lowe. Okay, Zach, I'm gonna do it. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Love
my
that
God.
man.
I'm so happy. So I got to share with people when I first met Zach, he told me that every morning he works out to Eye of the Tiger. And I was like, are you serious? And you said
Absolutely.
that gets you in the right headspace. I
Yeah.
love that. So whenever I hear Eye of the Tiger, that is Zach's song all the way.
That is. Thanks for the intro, Moni. That was like awesome. Like, oh wow, that's me.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that cool?
That is pretty cool.
I
It's
don't,
been
you
a long
know
time.
what? I said on my last interview with my guest, so a few interviews ago, I interviewed Gord Depp from the Spoons, and he said that every single person, whether you publish it or not, should write a book about your life. And you're one of those people, Zach, because
Hmm.
it's amazing. Like reading your bio. I mean, there's so much information in there, but there's so much more to know about you
Yeah.
today. Like we're going to talk about so many more things. And it's just cool how everything kind of comes full circle, right?
You're
So,
right. You're right.
yeah.
Thank you. Well, yeah. I
So,
after you read that, I stopped and thought, man, I've done a lot.
yeah,
I've done a lot.
yes. Well, if
So
you ever want to write a book, I'm happy to help you. I think
that
it
is
would be
awesome.
great.
I just might pick you up on that.
Yeah.
Pick you up on that.
So we learned a little bit about little Zach seeing Star Wars, but I wanted to ask you because I always start my interviews with my first question is, what did little Zach want to be when he grew up? Was that the moment, or was there something else before that?
No, that was pretty much the moment.
Yeah.
I remember being in the theater. I'll be in cinemas. I'll be back in Toronto. Just
Yeah.
looking at Darth Vader coming out as just it's just an
Yeah.
incredible movie. All the effects. I was just like, how is this done? Right? I was just blown away.
Right.
You know what? That that allows kids to dream. You know,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I started dreaming right there. And I was already a dreamer, but even more so, it just really triggered my imagination in a huge way. And it just stayed there. Like I said, it just stayed there and kept on going. And like, how am I gonna get there? How am I gonna get there? I had no idea, but
Yeah.
you know, and I I just want to say this about myself as well.
Yeah.
And I hope the people who are watching, I hope this helps them because I was slow when I was a kid. So I was a special ed for like a good 5 to 6 years of my life, and a lot of the teachers and stuff just wanted to send me to a trade school, but my parents were like, no. They knew that there was something special about me, and in grade 6, I started to pick up and started to learn because I just wasn't ready at the time. Was but I just started to learn and pick up and stuff, and everyone started noticing, hey, there's something about this kid, and so that's when things started to really roll. But I just want to say, don't allow someone to tell you that you're not good enough because you are.
Oh, that's wonderful. And
Right?
that really speaks to the time. I remember that with so many kids that had any type of learning, you know, like any issues with learning, they would be encouraged to go to the trade schools. You're
Traits, yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah, that's what was the big thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
I used to stutter like I still do, but it doesn't stop me. It doesn't define me. It used to when I was a
yeah.
kid. It doesn't define me anymore. And I'm like, as as we're talking, my stuttering is like probably non-existent. I don't. My wife doesn't notice it at all. I'm the one that
Mhm.
notices it, but that's because it's me, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But
So, how did you kind of get through that with the stuttering, Zach? Like
Actually,
that
that's a
must
good
have been
question.
a whole, yeah,
Actually, you know what? There's a movie. It's called The King's Speech.
yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw it, and it's exactly about that. He used to stutter. The king stuttered, and he couldn't talk in front of people. And he went to a therapist, and the therapist helped him. And music allowed him, like when he had headphones on, listening to music, he didn't stutter. He could read something, he didn't stutter. And in that movie, the therapist told him, if you have trouble pronouncing something, put an A in front of it, right? So I have problems with S's. Sabina, I have a problem with saying her name, right? So I say
Oh,
A
okay.
Sabina, right? And it's easier, it tricks your mind. So somehow I therapeutic myself, right?
Yeah.
And I just got through it. And you know what really got me through it? Drama class.
Yeah.
I faced my fear and I went into drama and I acted in front of all these people. I forced myself to get over my fear of stuttering. And that's how I managed to defeat it because it didn't define me at all. So now here I am, having this life, and I have a beautiful wife and three beautiful kids. I want to raise up my the
Oh,
daddy Lorian is my three kids. My wife gave me this. She's amazing. She's an amazing woman. My wife gave me this, and yeah, so it's
oh,
yeah, it's awesome. So yeah,
oh, fantastic. I love that. Yes, your kids, your life, Zach, you're a prime example of somebody who you've had dreams come true, and that's all because of that same bravery that got you onto that stage in drama class. You go
yeah,
for it. And
yeah.
yeah, I've always said that to you. You blow my mind.
You have
You think
actually, yes,
Zach's, yeah.
you have.
Yeah, so great. So, I want to know, like, I mean, the drama class, that's so cool. And then you went on to Sheridan College, right? And then you had this, 3 years of school doing all this stuff you loved and couldn't get any work. That must have felt terrible.
It did. I mean, it.
Yeah.
You when you go to school and you put everything into it and graduate and you get out into the real world and it's like, wait a second, it's not what you thought it was, or you get a job and it's like, okay, this is what I wanted to do. For
Yeah.
me, it was like, okay, well, you obviously have to do something else. It's not this isn't it just doesn't stop at school. Then oh, you get into the real world and you get into the real world and you're working. No, it's
Yeah.
you gotta do more. You got to keep on building yourself and increasing your skills and stuff, and that's what it's all about. And again, it's who you know. So volunteering and getting myself out there after the fact I was at school was a big help to get me into where I wanted to go.
Yeah. Good for you. And what was that process like? I'd love to know about that. Like, here you are, you're doing security at Humber, and you're thinking, okay, this is not the direction that I want life to take me. So did you just start knocking on doors? Is that what you did? Or
Let me try
how
to
did
think
you get
here.
in there?
Um, okay, so I no, yes, actually, I just started cold calling studios, literally
Oh, great. Okay.
asking them if they take any volunteers. And this one place, it was called May Productions,
Mhm.
and he said, "Yeah." And apparently, well, and he took on students all the time. So I just kind of, after making so many calls, I don't even remember how many calls I made, but you just need to take the step forward and get over that fear. Just do what you need to do, and somewhere a window's going to open, and it did for me. So I worked there for free for almost a year, and I learned a lot. And then they actually said, okay, we're going to hire you and start paying you. I mean, it was low, it was low pay, but I just started working on commercials and everything. So I started getting experience, started learning, meeting people. Like it was great. And from there, I just started to like that grow even more, right? And learning the softwares and just it's basically getting mentorship from people who are
Yeah.
in the industry right there for free. Right.
Right. And I mean, I want us to go through your story chronologically, but I feel like this is really cool because through that mentorship, you are now mentoring
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
right? Which
Yeah.
is so awesome. And do you see a big difference, Zach, between the way it was for you back then versus the way it is for kids now? Because back when you were doing the cold calling, that was the only, other than knocking on a door, picking up the phone was the only other way to do that, to kind of get yourself out there. Even have we didn't even have email then.
No. You're
Right?
right.
So now, when young people want to get into the film industry and they need to make those connections, what's the difference now? How are they kind of doing?
Well, there are a lot of online mentors, free stuff that you can like learn from, and you can. Um, for me, that didn't exist. The internet didn't really exist, so it's just
No.
it would it was just now you have you can the software I learned you can learn online, right? They have tutorials all over the
Uh,
place, but you also have people that are on there that will uh, you know you can contact them and they can probably put you in the right direction. It's so vastly open now, but
right.
and then there's so many schools you can actually apply to now, where as before the 3D animation industry didn't wasn't really a thing in the schools yet, right? When I started back in like I think it was 1998 is when it really started. That was it started at Sheridan College. So it was one of the biggest, but you had to be an alumni, or you had to be from overseas in order to get in to that course, right? And when you were in that course, it was a big thing because the studios that were growing, like Disney and ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, and all that, they would go to these schools and take the people out because it was brand new. Take you're hired, and they were the staple to building the industry. So I know some of these guys. They're like it's crazy, but now it's the industry. Honestly, is flooded with people who just want to be part of this gaming,
Mhm.
movies. Um, it's massive,
Yeah.
but it's also flooded with people that aren't really good. And unfortunately, a lot of these some schools just kind of like they ask for so much money, but they don't make any promises, right?
Right. Yeah.
So my advice is to learn online, right?
Okay.
Learn
Yeah.
online. You don't have to spend a fortune.
Yeah.
The software is right there. And you can get it for free too. You know what I mean? It's
That's
like,
great because you find with school as well, like they're not necessarily looking out for the welfare of the student to get
no,
hired afterwards, or
no, like,
it,
no,
you
there's
gotta
no,
do that
they,
yourself.
yeah, they can't make promises. So,
Yeah.
a lot of students that I've taught to, like, well, they're asking me, so what do I do? It's like, well, go out there and like just, start, um, applying at studios. Like, if once you do go through school, right, start applying at studios. Just, take whatever you can get. You just need a foot in the door, right?
Right. Yeah.
And but you need to have like a reel. So at home, work on your stuff. Like work on something
Yeah.
that you think would be impressive, and make sure that it's something that um, is not uh, it's not like that you spend time on. It's not junk, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's got to stand out, and just be creative because a story is still important. So do a small short, do a small story, right? And you'll probably
Yeah.
get noticed. So, and don't do it yourself. Do it with other people, that so other people can gain
Right.
experience too. So you collaborate as a team, and that way, when you get into the industry, you already work with a team, so you have that experience now, right? So
Beautiful.
that makes sense. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yes, that's great advice. I love that. So, Zach, can you tell us a little bit about your first experience
oh yeah,
working on a blockbuster film? Like
oh yeah.
where and where that was?
Okay, yep.
Where,
So
yeah.
I finished UFT, uh,
Okay.
my course, and I contacted right away one of my friends that I used to work with at one of the editing studios because I knew that he was at Toy Box. So Toy Box was the biggest place. So I was lucky to have a contact there. So I just, I had my reel. He's okay, and I said, hey, Jim, can you help me out? And he's like, I swear, he called me up and goes, Zach, can you be at the studio tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with your reel? And I'm like, yeah. He didn't say interview or anything. So I said, yeah. So I went there in the morning and I had an interview right away. I was sitting there with Jim and his supervisor, and they're looking at my reel. And his supervisor asked me questions. I'm like, da da da. And then he goes, hey, when can you start? And I'm just like, huh? Right? Like, what? So I'm like, okay, I was 29 years old, and I was like, well, I was yeah, no, I was pretty much 30. I was 29 years old, and I'm like, yeah, I can start whenever you want me to start. Okay, well, how about next week? I said, yeah, sure. So I remember sitting in my chair at Toy Box, looking around, going like, all these professionals. It was insane. Like the place was beautiful. It was privately
Oh,
owned. It was like you had everybody working on the latest software, and I was intimidated at first, but I knew what I knew from school, and I said, okay, Zach, just apply that, absorb what you can from people that are going to help you because you're not alone, right? And
right.
so they gave me small tasks, the first modeling tasks and stuff like that, and then um, they said, okay, we had a big meeting and said, okay, we're working on this movie called Jason X, and we could be using, and it was the first digital film back then, the first time digital film, because everything else was done on regular film. This is digital film. And I'm like,
Wow.
wow, right? And I'm thinking, okay, and I'm looking around, and you have all these young guys that were like very professional, and I'm just like, wow, man, I'm gonna be learning from these guys. And so we were given tasks and stuff, and it's okay, Zach. In the movie Jason X, I was given the responsibility for all of the GAC, so all of the screen imaging on all the screens. So
Okay.
I had to if I had to like model things, rig things. I'll talk about that stuff in a second. Well,
Okay.
I had to model
Yeah.
things, rig things, animate things. I'd do all this stuff, and I was like, it was just awesome. And I got to be creative. So I was like, okay, okay, Zach, we need a lot of graphics on the screen doing it. Just here's some artwork of what we kind of want to look like. Just go with it. And I was like, yeah, I had so much fun. I just think, approvals were coming. Yeah, this is great. Zach, can you do this? And, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was like, man, it was great. It was such an amazing experience, and the fact that Toy Box gave me uh, the opportunity to
Yeah.
actually have that and do that, and it's all because of who I knew. Working back, volunteering, doing that got me to where I was in Toy Box. Because if I didn't know Jim, I wouldn't have got that job. Because
Right.
I jumped ahead of every other applicant because I had that contact. It's who you know, man. It's who you know.
God.
But that was an
Yeah.
amazing experience. I was on cloud nine.
Beautiful. That's so great. Yeah, the relationship building part is so important for, any type of industry. So that's great. I mean, I'm happy for the mentees that you have, that they're learning that from you as well,
Yeah,
because it's so valuable. Not everybody, networking, it doesn't come easily to a lot of people, but when you have the right person who can guide you through that, that's really, really important.
yeah.
Yeah. And I have to ask you, were you like when you worked on this on Jason X, were you a Friday the 13th fan?
You know what?
Were you
I
or
I wasn't a fan. However, I knew about it, but I wasn't a huge fan. But
yeah,
after I became a fan,
you did,
actually, funny story. Funny
yeah,
story. I can mention this now, but
yeah.
I had to model this boot. So Jason X, he's Jason. He got killed in the movie and then was brought back
Okay.
by nanites. So he was this
Ah,
he was this robotic android, half human, I guess, or monster. And the guy who played him had to wear a costume. So I
okay.
found that he had these big boots because he was a big guy. So his boot was like 14 feet or something like that. Or no,
Mhm.
sorry, 14-inch boot. something like that. So I had this boot on my desk. I had to model it. So I modeled it and stuff, and then they used it for whatever. But it was on my desk for like a year, and then they said, "Okay, Zach, just if you want the boot, go ahead, take it." Like, oh, really? Okay. So, um, yeah. So long story short, I ended up, you know, it, it, selling it online, and it was because it was crazy. I had it for 20. I had it for like 20 years. It was nuts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good, that was like an investment that was growing, right? And then
Didn't even
you,
know about it.
yeah,
But yeah, pretty cool.
perfect.
Yeah.
I love that. So when you're there's a couple of things. Well, first of all, you were talking about submitting your reel. So I was wondering if you could explain to people what that is. If anybody who's watching, we're not talking about Instagram reels here. So
No.
this is a reel that you put together, which is like a portfolio, right?
Yes, it is. It's
Yeah.
all of your work,
Okay.
of your works, of your like.
Okay.
So when you're working in this industry,
Mhm.
I mean, you obviously have a resume, but the resume doesn't show enough. So a
Uh-huh.
tie to that is a reel. So you just put together snippets of things that you worked on in movies. You might have the studio might be nice enough to give you some turntables of stuff that you've done, or some breakdowns of stuff that from beginning to end, and they may give it to you,
Okay.
or you might just be able to just take parts from a movie, right?
Right.
But you need permission to be able
Yeah.
to use any of the content. Um,
Okay.
and if it is out in the movies, you can use it because it's already out in public. But if it's
Right.
stuff like if it's stuff like turntable stuff, you need to get permission to use that kind of stuff. And anyhow, you put together this reel. Whether it like for me, I specialized in after doing every type of uh, uh, I guess task when it comes down to the industry, um, the VFX industry. I chose texturing. So I texture in for a movie. So if I have a, it's a long story short, but if I have a if I give it a model and the model is gray and it's a chair, right? It's a chair model and the
Okay.
chair has to be wood, right? I will texture it as wood, right?
Oh,
There's a whole
cool.
process that goes through that. I don't want to go through it because it's too long, but
Yeah.
the whole process that goes through that. So I would texture it with different passes, and then it would go to what's called a shading artist, or I would shade it, and it's just basically a ball, like a shading ball that reacts to light, and you
Okay.
put you put you assign your textures to that, and based on those textures and based on the shading and the light, it when you render it, um, it it all like it'll look real within the screen.
Okay.
It's harder to explain. It's kind of take too long, but it's
Yeah,
something that
I think
is movie
that's a
magic.
really, yes, and that's a really good explanation that you gave, actually. So I wanted to ask you, um, like you're saying, the special effects are the magic of the movie. And there's a whole process which goes from storyboard to the finished product of the movie. So for people who maybe don't really understand what it is that you're doing with special effects, is that a good description, or is there more to it from that
I can give you a
storyboard part?
I can give you a quicker okay, I can give you like a breakdown, a quick breakdown.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I love
it
it.
starts it
Yeah.
starts off with a story. So somebody writes a story. Then it's okay, you know what? We want
Okay.
to put this to film. Then it goes to storyboard. So basically, uh, they hire artists to and a director to basically storyboard how each shot's going to look from beginning to end of this whole story, right? And then once they have that all written up and all okayed and approved, then it's okay. Let's start looking for visual effects houses, right? And obviously they'll shoot the film, but they'll have areas in the storyboard which require special effects, right? So then it's okay. This is effect. This is okay. So we go. It's not just one studio. It's usually more than one studio because it could be like 1,500 shots that are the visual effects, and they get One studio always is the main studio, and then they farm out other effects to all other different studios. So it's a collaboration of studios working to one common goal, right? And now in within every studio, you have so you have basically you have okay, so here's a storyboard. Okay, now we need to model whatever we need to model, whether it's a creature, whether it's environments, whether it's props, whatever. We need to model all this stuff, and then from the modeling stage, it goes to the texturing stage. And what we do is we would this and we would prepare all the textures and stuff and on our end, and then we would give that to another department called shading. Shading will take that and, like I said, assign it to a shader, a ball that a sphere that reacts to light, and that from there it'll go to it'll go to lighting. But then there's other areas, other departments where it's if it's a character, the model is like this. As we're texturing it, it goes to rigging, and rigging will put bones in it so it can bend, right? And then that will go to
Oh,
animation, and animation will animate that, right? With whatever is actions happening in the movie, they'll have the action of like they'll have the it's called a plate in front of them. They'll have the creature or whatever reacting to whatever is in the scene, and from there it'll go lighting, it'll go to effects. They'll put in like dirt or explosions, whatever in there too. So it all comes together in the end through lighting and comp is composition. So they put everything together. So this whole process could take several years. Could take about 3 years for a big movie. um I think, yeah, TV shows could take like a year or two, but it's a big huge engine where everyone's working
mhm.
cohesively, and the communication is has to be tight. Everyone has to talk. Every department has to talk to each other in order for this to happen. So it's a big thing, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. So when you're working on a movie or a TV series that isn't obviously it's not out yet because you're working on it, are you allowed to talk about that, or is that hush hush? You got to keep that on the down low.
It's mainly
Yeah.
hush hush. Mainly hush hush.
Okay.
I don't talk about what I work on. Not until it comes out, right? I won't talk about
Wow.
it. Even now, working on something, I'm not going to say what I'm working on, right? But
Okay.
we
Yeah.
can't do that because we sign NDAs and stuff, and it's privacy, so we don't do
Mhm.
that. I mean, um, but that's what the surprise is, right? When they went, oh, this is like,
That's
yeah,
so great.
very
And
cool.
so, Zach, for you personally, will you work on a TV show or a television series for a couple of years, or is it like 6 months worth of work for you and then it goes on to the next and the next person? Like, how does that work?
For me, it's been yearly. It is a couple of years.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
some people get hired just for 6 months, depending on the schedule, depending on when someone is hired on.
Yeah.
But generally, it's a contract industry, so you're always
Okay.
jumping around from studio to studio, um, and the contracts could range from 3 months to 6 months to a year, maybe even longer,
Okay.
depending on the studio, depending on what they're working on, depending on the
Right.
budget. Lots depend on it. Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about today, you've done quite a bit of travel with your work as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you were in Australia at one point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My God.
Mm.
So if I recall, you were in Montreal at that time,
I was a
and
much
that was okay. And
yeah.
was it that company that sent you to Australia, or that
No,
contract ended and then you got
that
okay.
contract. Okay,
Yeah.
so the way it worked is I was working in Toronto,
Yeah.
and things got slow, and I was laid off. So I found myself, okay, I
Right.
just want to take a break. And then a friend of mine contacted me and said, hey, we're in Australia. You don't want to come here? I'm like, no.
That's
And
great.
no
Man
point
knows what
doing
he
that,
wants.
right? And
Yeah.
they said just have the interview. I said fine, I'll have the interview. So I wasn't even trying. I had the interview, and I said to myself, I'm gonna botch this, man. Because I don't want to go. Right? That's far. So I and at the time I was I was on my own at the time. So
Right.
um And I said to myself, "Yeah, I'm gonna watch this because I just don't want to go. I want to stay here." And I had an interview, and the interview went extremely well. And then they asked me how much I wanted, and I said, "Well, I just threw out a crazy number. Well, I want this, right?" And
Yeah.
they said yes, and I was like, "Huh?" And so I ended up going to Australia, and it was probably the best decision I ever made.
Good.
Um,
How long were you there?
I was there for about a year and 4 months,
Okay.
um,
Exciting.
and
And what did you work on there?
I worked on Happy Feet too.
Oh,
Happy Feet too.
sweet.
Yeah, it was definitely an experience. I can't I can't fathom. I can't even explain. Uh, I hope I explain it well, but after working all like during the day, you go outside, you go to the beach. You
Yeah.
float,
Oh,
and you just like it was good. Like we just had a fabulous time, and it was working with like I think we had 700 people working on this movie over there. It was nuts.
wow.
It was a big production, but it was
And
really fun.
were a lot of them from other countries
Oh yeah, all over
that
the
were
world,
working there?
all over
Yeah.
the world, all over the world.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was an experience. I met a lot of people through there, so it grew my network even more. Right, I have such
Oh,
great friends still from there that I still talk to,
yeah.
and that's another thing. I mean, if all of us and if any of us are out of work, we just contact each other. Like, hey, what's going on, right? Because now oh yeah,
Yeah.
so there is a networking again, right?
Yeah.
So for 24 years I've been doing this. For 24 years I'll be getting work. So it's just a matter of building your network and just keeping in contact and you just keep on
Yeah.
working. Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
So how did you ever end up in BC?
That's a good question. Okay, so there was a movie called District 9.
Yes.
And when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, this is amazing! Who made that movie?" And it was a movie called Image Engine. So
Okay.
ever since I saw that, like, I want to work there. So I ended up working on Image Engine. I got hired there, and I that's where I worked on a few awesome films. And just before COVID, I made the switch to animation. Right,
Ah,
so when COVID hit, that's when the VFX industry took a big hit and really slowed down. And um, because I was in animation now, it really helped because animation wasn't affected a lot by it. So
right.
we just kept on going. So it was
Good.
yeah, it was cool. But yeah, it's that's why I ended up here. I wasn't expecting I was just expecting to stay for a year, but I expected
Yeah.
staying for much longer. Obviously, I'm still here,
Wow.
right?
Yeah, that's right. With a big family.
With a big
That's
family.
probably something else you weren't really expecting,
Not at all. I
which
didn't.
is
I didn't
a
know what to expect. I
such
didn't. Not at all.
yeah. That's so great.
Yeah,
I always remember Zach, you always said, I can't wait to be a dad. And it was just like
that was
matter
a
of time,
journey.
right?
Yeah,
So cool.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like I said, I have the best wife, and she gave me the three kids. My
Yeah.
she gave me three kids, and
Amazing.
I can't be happier right now.
Oh, that's so good. And are your kids like, I know how old are the younger ones?
Okay, so
Oh,
I have
oh,
twins that are three,
yes.
and
Yeah.
then I have an
I know.
older one that's
Yeah.
5.
Okay.
And um, so the 5-year old, they're all boys. The 5-year old, his name is Malachi.
Right.
And the twins, ready for
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. Ready.
One is named Anakin, and one is named Riker. And it's not because of Star Wars or Star Trek. It just so happened that at different times, we heard the names. We said we really like those names, so we decided we let's just ignore the fact that they were movies and just name our kids what we
Yeah.
want, and we did. And and the names suit the kids.
Oh my God. Do you ever call Riker number one? You can't do
my
that because then you're
my
gonna.
brother, no, my brother does. My brother actually, yeah, my brother calls Riker
Oh,
number one. He calls Malachi the professor, and he calls
yeah.
Anakin the chosen one.
Oh, that's great. So they're all up there.
Right,
Nobody's competing to be
right,
number one.
because
Okay, that's
Malachi,
good.
his middle name is Xavier, so we were gonna name him that, but
Right.
we didn't, so X-Men.
Oh,
So
yes.
that's what my brother says, that's
Fantastic.
what the professor.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if you know this, Zach, just we're gonna go back on track, but Jody, Wayne's little sister is watching, and you and I both know Jody as the little sister.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So do you know that she also has
Yes,
exactly the same scenario at her house? One
yes. It's a
little boy and
yeah.
twin boys.
We talked
Yeah,
about it. It's great. I'm like, yeah. We're like mirrored image, but she's white and I'm
yeah,
black.
yeah, exactly.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. I think that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, it's so wonderful.
Um,
This is great. So tell us now you're in animation and you're also supervising people. So you've got a team under you, that's something that's different, right?
it's different. I mean,
That
yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, it is.
how's that?
It's it's pretty cool. I mean, it is amazing. It's you know what? It's kind of rewarding because um, I'm working with people who obviously have less experience than me, but I'm helping them grow, and some of them are like are very quiet and stuff. And it's not I'm not helping them just grow just within work and with software or anything. I'm helping them grow as a person, right?
Yeah.
Developing them as a person. It's like, look, you have a voice, use it. We want to hear your voice, like, and it's trying to open them up, and it's great seeing how they start and where they end up afterwards, the confidence that they get, and and some of them are really talented. It's just a matter of like giving them that assuredness and that confidence, and
Yeah.
and also like they pushing the limits a little bit and helping them on with that, and letting them know that they're not alone. They're part of a team, so we're all here to help each other. And the growth is just amazing. Like I love working with young people who have a lot of talent and who don't know it, and then all of a sudden, when they realize it, they're like glowing.
Yeah.
Right? It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But
Fantastic.
yeah,
Do you find that too with people who are creative? I mean, even for you, for me, when we were younger, maybe it's like, your parents, they saw in you your gift, right? They were like, Zach's not going to trade school. We see something different in him. They believed in you. But it takes a long time to have that same belief in yourself. It's almost like you have a gift and things come easily to you, so then you kind of diminish it. I find people do that. It's like they make it small, where just because something comes easily to you, that's not a bad thing. That's actually a really good thing. That's your gift, and it needs to be blown up now, right?
yeah,
And
exactly.
exposed. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It does. I mean, it's just about keeping working on it. Just having that. Just you need to allow yourself to dream and just keep on dreaming, and just
Yeah.
hold that high, and just go towards it. And you're gonna fail along the way. Of course, you're gonna fail. But what the importance is feeling forward,
Mhm.
right? That's the importance. It's not about, oh, I feel I can't do this. No, because you learn something from that failure, right? Right. Okay. And some of the people I'm working with, that, oh, I didn't do a good job. It's like, hold on, stop. Why are you looking at this so negative? Let's look at the positive of this, right? And then they realize, wait a second, you're right, you know, and their attitude just changes, because they
Yeah.
realize it's like, oh, so when I'm leading or supervising or whatever, I try to come at it at uh, a different angle, right? I
Yeah.
don't want them to think it's not just you're here at the studio working. No, it's self development, and you need
Yes.
to understand that, right? And once they get it, you know, I've had people come up to me and say, Zach, you're the best lead I've ever had, and I'm like, well, thank you, but I'm just a guy that's been there. That's
Yes.
all. And I'm just
Yeah.
sharing my wisdom. That's all I'm doing, right?
Good.
So
Yeah, that's so good. And one thing not everybody's going to know about you that I know about you is that you have your black belts, which is so cool. And as you're speaking and talking about how you like to bring things out of people and give them that self-assurance, like a lot of those teachings go back to probably
yeah,
what you learned as far as getting your black belt. So having that experience, how's the black belt experience affecting your line of work?
It affects everything, everything. Those
Yeah.
that training, that teaching has uh, changed me. I mean,
Mhm.
from a scared little boy to a confident or somewhat confident person that just keeps on. The way I look at things is if I don't like something, if I don't like the way something's going or the perspective of it, I change my
Mhm.
perspective, and that's through like I learned all through that training. When you train, you learn to overcome, and it you train like in martial arts, you're training the mind to overcome the body,
Ah,
right? And
right.
that's my training was extensive, and I really um, that is the key to my success, right? I wholeheartedly, and if I didn't have that discipline, that focus, I mean, out of all my friends, I have friends that I've known for over 40 years. Out of all my friends, like I think there's like 12 or 15 of them. Out of all of them, they said I am the only one who actually did what they said they were going to do, right?
Mhm.
And I said I wanted to work within the film industry. I wanted to work on big films. I wanted my name in the credits. I wanted my friends and family to be proud of me and to look at me as a celebrity. I got all those, right?
Yeah.
Because and it was just something I wanted, and I was like, I'm not going to be stopped. There's nothing that's going to stop me because I can do this because I want to do this, you know?
Yeah.
And martial arts really, really helped me focus on all of that. So yeah, I know 8 different styles, and well, it's something that I do as a hobby, and you
Amazing.
never lose it, never lose it.
Yeah, and I'm really interested in what you said about how it taught you how to look at a situation, and if you didn't like the way you were looking at it, it taught you how to change perspective. Can you give us like kind of an example or a little
Okay,
teaching around that on how you actually do
yeah.
that?
Let me see here. Okay, so if okay, I'm trying to think of that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
drawing a blank here.
Yeah, that's okay.
um, if okay, well, let me just say this: if you are dealing with something that, um, like for instance, you
Let's
want
say
to,
something simple like the job, like you want to be in film and you're ending up as a security guard and you
okay,
think this
right,
is shit.
and you're
Yeah,
thinking this is
exactly
crap.
what you
What
went
am I
through.
gonna
Yeah.
do?
Mhm.
You know, you're in a perspective mind right now where you're like in a down,
Yeah.
which is normal. You're human, right? Okay, so your perspective is you're working security and you're stuck. Okay, let's change that perspective. No, you're not stuck, right? Let's choose a perspective that's better. No, you're not stuck. You just have to go out there and make some phone calls, right? Start doing some action. Start doing something that is going to make a change, right? Because if you do nothing, then nothing happens. So, um, right now you're down. Well, start looking up because now if you make a phone call, that just moved you to another tier, right? Make another phone call to move to another tier, right? What have you learned from those? Those conversations, whatever. Yeah, you're scared and stuff, but fear is a liar, right? It is.
Yes.
It stops you. So don't let it stop you. Like just, um, you know, it's just a matter of choice, right? Everyone has a choice. And I honestly believe everybody has greatness in them, right?
Mhm.
It's just a matter of how you think here and who you allow to inspire you or to feed into you that will that would trigger that that specialness from you and allow you to grow and prosper and expand into this flower that you can become. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's beautiful.
yeah, I hope that kind of helps. I mean,
Yeah, that totally helps. Do you think that you'll like will you encourage your boys to practice martial arts because of your experience in it or
I will teach them, but I'm not going to push them
Mhm.
towards it in a sense. I want
Mhm.
because I want them to be able to defend themselves, right?
Yeah.
Bullying is a big thing. I want them to have some sort of arsenal in their background. If they want to
Yeah.
continue with it and learn more, for sure. But
Mhm.
um, right now, my plan was to teach them at 3, but I realized it's too young because they're still
Yeah.
they play, they hit each other and stuff. I don't want them using it for that kind of thing. So when they get older, maybe they'll older, I don't know,
Mhm.
8 or something, then maybe I start teaching them, right? Because then it'll be
Yeah.
more they'll understand more that okay, this isn't something you can just use. It's something that's more of a defense thing. And
Right.
I just yeah, I want it to build them confident. I want to learn it to build confidence and to build discipline. Right. That's
Yes.
what I want them to learn it. And it's a way of life. It is. It definitely is.
Mhm.
Like Wayne, your husband, Wayne,
Yeah.
I mean, when I first met him, I
Yeah.
remember he was always
Yeah.
testing me, always testing me in school.
And let's just say he was, he was like a skinny guy, right? Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it was,
He was
but
like,
through him
he
doing it,
always says, I don't even want to say skinny guy. He describes himself as, he was kind of small. He was younger than everybody at school. So he
yeah.
was like a smaller guy, and you guys were,
Oh
the
yeah,
bigger guys. You were the
yeah.
protectors.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We go way back. It's great.
Yeah. 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 You guys
Fun
always
times,
have
man.
good flashbacks. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God. This is cool. And when, just out of curiosity, when did you start martial arts yourself? How old were you when you started?
I officially started training at 15. My brother
Okay.
gave me a birthday present where I was learning to a school, and I that's where I
Mhm.
started learning. Because Bruce Lee is my idol, and back then was my
Yeah.
big idol, and I wanted to learn a lot of everything, so I would have a
Mhm.
wide range of fighting skills. And yeah, my brother got me that present, and I just took off with it,
Mhm.
and he was my biggest fan. So I went in. I was at one
Mhm.
point I was second best in North America. I was just killing it. I was just like so focused.
Yes. Yeah. I
Right?
am the tiger, baby.
I had the tiger. That's
Okay.
right.
Yeah. So, Zach, of all of the films, TV series, everything you've worked on, what is like the number one favorite of that was the most thrilling for you?
That's a tough one. I have to say it's probably one of the fun things and challenging things I did was Fantastic Beasts, the first one,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
there was this dung beetle I had to do, and it turned out beautiful. It turned out beautiful, and
Um,
it was a bit of a challenge, but I I I I tackled it, and it turned out really nice, and um, yeah, it was that was just a fun project. Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
if you're
And
absolutely that one.
have you ever met any directors or actors or anything? Have you ever,
I only
does
only
that happen or not
it
really?
doesn't happen often, not at all, because
No.
we
Yeah.
are it's after the fact, so they generally
Yeah.
don't come see us. But I
Yeah.
did meet Michael Caine one time.
You
Yeah,
did.
he came in to visit the studio, and
Yeah.
super nice guy. He looks way older than he looks on film. So I'll tell you that, I was like, oh,
You're old.
whoa, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's somebody else I met. I forget who. Ah, darn it, I forget. There was somebody else I
Yeah.
met, but it,
Yeah.
it's,
Oh, that's great.
yeah,
That's so
yeah,
funny. He's
yeah.
older than
Well, I
he
was like,
looks.
wow, he's really old.
Oh
nice
my
guy though.
God. Yeah, that's so great. So I have to tell everybody, because I was telling you this before we started the interview. When I reach out to people for interviews, I usually, I ask for the bio and I ask for a photo and all of that. And then I say, if there's anything you want me to ask you in particular, let me know. Anyway, Zach, you killed it. I want to credit Zach because he gave me really awesome questions to ask today because And that was so thoughtful of you because I don't know everything about your industry. I think I could have researched what you do for hours and not been able to come up with the questions that you gave to help me out. So I'm so grateful because it really paints a beautiful picture of your life and
Oh,
your story. And yeah, it's fantastic.
thank you so much. Well, you're more
Yeah.
than welcome. I mean, I don't. I thought that was just the norm. It's like
See, you're an overachiever, my friend. You are.
I'm always been ambitious. I know that much. And
Yeah, yeah, it shows. When you sent me all your things, I was like, whoa, this guy's like, he's got it together. I always knew that anyway, but you know.
yeah, yeah. Thanks, Moni. And,
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy that you were able to come on today. Is there anything that we missed that you want to cover off or
um, no, I don't think so. I mean, um, no, I mean,
yeah, we
no, I
got it
mean,
all?
I think I got it all. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
just in retrospect, just keep on dreaming and follow your dream. Don't
Yeah.
let anyone stop you. Dreams are still
Hmm.
very much alive. You just gotta
Yes,
want it. You just gotta want it.
exactly. And I love this mentorship program that you're a part of. Maybe we could end with that. Like, just tell us a little bit about it and what it is you do there exactly.
Think tank. So they approached
Okay.
me, and
Mhm.
they asked me if I want to be a mentor. And a think tank is a really awesome school. They have awesome students coming out of there with like amazing talent. And their last project, they get mentors to that these students pick, and so they might pick you, looking at your bio, and then they pick you, and then you work with them for like 3 months, right? Every week, twice, maybe twice a week. No, once a week, and you can have up to 3 students at a time, and think that will pay you for your time. But you just basically you take 2 hours out, and you just help them with a project that they have assigned or that they chose, and you
Mhm.
help to build on that. You give them new wisdom and stuff, and in the end, they come up with a beautiful product, right?
That's great.
So
So
yeah,
is Think Tank, is it exclusively for the film industry or is this like in all
gaming, everything.
industries?
Yeah, it's just a
Everything.
school for
Yeah.
gaming. Yeah, everything. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, everything. Some talent, major talent comes out of there. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Isn't it amazing what they have for people now? I was going to
It
say young
is.
people, but I guess it's really all ages for that. You know, when you think back to when we were in high school, like drama was the most
Right?
exotic thing you could
It's the only thing you could do. Yeah.
drama or gym. Yeah, yeah.
Jim.
That was it. We don't want to get yeah, or German. I took the German course, of course.
French.
But oh, French, yeah. It's just so comical. Like there was no photography, no. You were in the AV club in high school, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I
like
I
that's
barely did anything. Like I just shot game, like a basketball game. Okay, I'll shoot it. And then I would edit
yeah.
it. I don't know what I was doing.
With film.
Oh, it's just
With
VHS.
film.
So it's like,
Oh yeah,
it's just,
VHS, of
it's like,
course. Oh my
yeah,
God.
funny. Yeah.
Do you love all those relics, Zach? Like, do you keep stuff around like
I wish
VHS
I
equipment
wish I
or
did. I
do you,
got rid of them. I shouldn't have. I should. I
yeah,
wish I did, but no, I don't keep them.
yeah. It's so much big stuff to
You're
store,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Like everything was, I mean, even think back when we were kids and our parents, the televisions were like a piece of furniture, right? Those big,
Exactly.
huge TVs
Tubes.
with the
Tubes.
ashtray on top of the TV. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. You're switching the channel. You don't have a
Yeah,
remote. You're taking the channels.
that's right. I know. I
Hold,
love
hold the
all that
antenna.
stuff.
Yeah, stop.
God, I know. I love all that old technology. I remember like when I think my brother and I were like 8 and 10, and we were going to visit some friends that lived in Ottawa, and they just moved into this big, huge house, and they had an intercom system. And that was just like, oh my God, like I felt like I was on Star Trek, like this is outer space. But it was just the little, like hello, you could talk to each other through the rooms. Do you remember those? Like
Yeah,
from
I
the
remember those.
80s?
Yeah, I remember those. That's hilarious.
Oh my God. Yeah, yeah, we've come a long way. Even walkie-talkies were thrilling. Now we're like FaceTiming, you know? It's just wild. Like when you
Crazy.
think about, yeah, in the 80s, talking to your friends on the phone, and somebody would say, imagine if we could actually see each other. And wow, that'd be
No,
cool. That's never gonna
that's never
happen.
gonna happen. It's like, little
It's
little did we
happening,
know,
baby.
right?
Yeah.
That was the future.
Yeah. Hey, are you constantly upgrading your skills as well? Like, are you working on something now for yourself for the future? Because I imagine that like things change so fast. Or
Yeah,
is it just a matter of new software, gotta learn it quick, and now
yeah. I
I'm
try to learn
doing
it. I
this
try to
stuff?
learn it through work at work when I have time.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't generally work after hours because I have kids and a wife I want to spend time with.
yeah,
Right,
for
time is the
sure.
most important thing, and I want to use that time wisely. So I won't
Yeah,
use
I
it.
feel
I'm
that.
not young anymore, so I'm not gonna use it for that anymore. So
Yeah. Okay. Even though the man looks 25. Okay. Zach, I've loved having you. Thank you
oh,
so
it's been
much.
a
You're
pleasure. Thank
amazing.
you.
I could just talk to you for the rest of the day, but I know you got stuff you got to get back to. And I'm going to put you in the virtual green room, say goodbye to everybody, and I'll be right back to you
All
in
right.
just a sec.
Yeah, no
Okay.
problem.
See you
Thanks. Bye
soon.
bye.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Zachary Lowe, isn't he awesome? Make sure you check out all of our sponsors, brendabadome.com, glamjewels.com, flourishandbass.ca, and scooters.ca. I will see you not this Thursday, but next Thursday. I am returning to roller skating. So hope to see you there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep on showing the world your sparkle. And I will see you back here next week with another amazing guest. Bye for now.